Hi everyone, welcome back to my class. Students, this session is the continuation of the lesson tissues. So in this session, we are going to understand about the next concept, animal tissues. In the previous session, you all have understood the plant tissues, the types of plant tissues and their functions. So now we will talk about the animal tissues. Clear? So as I mentioned in the introduction of the lesson, multicellularity introduced the division of labor. Please understand the multicellularity in the animals, they introduce or they possess the division of labor. Then what is meant by the multicellularity or multicellular? See, when I say multicellular, it means the organisms which are made up of many cells. Correct. So the organism, if they contain so many cells, if they are made up of many cells, we call such organisms as multicellular organisms. Clear? So now the question is, how do these cells, that means so many cells which are present in the body of a living organism, how do these cells perform the function? Let us understand that. You all know that cell is the basic structural and the functional unit of all the living organisms. Correct? This cell is the basic unit. It is the basic unit and it is a basic unit. It is a basic structural and the functional unit of all the living organisms. So these cells, they group together to form the tissues. And these tissues, they group together to form the organs. And these organs, they group together to form the organ system. Finally, it will form an organism. Correct. So here, the cells are grouped and they decided to perform the function. Please understand. See, the basic unit is the cells. These cells are grouping together and they group and they decide to perform the functions, and this we call it as the division of labor. The cell, which is the basic functional unit of life, it is deciding, it is grouping to perform the function. So this is what we call it as the division of labor. Correct. The entire work is divided into groups of individuals. See, when I say individuals, see, for example, the group of cells which are present in the intestine, they perform one set of function, and the group of cells which are present in the stomach, they perform one set of function. Correct. So like this, the group of cells which are present in the different regions of the body, they perform the different set of function. Correct? So this division of labor, they performs the basic concept of tissues. Clear? So now as I'm talking about the cells, all the cells in our body, they need energy to perform the work. Correct? See, if we are doing some kind of work, for example, if I'm teaching you, okay, and you are listening, right? And then after listening to me, then you start writing the notes. Now you are performing a set of function, right? So to perform this function, to perform the activity, you need energy. So that energy is produced by the cells. So for the cells to produce the energy, the cells also need energy. The cells which are present in our body, they need energy to perform the work. So all the cells, they receive the glucose through the blood. So blood is the tissue, it is a fluid tissue which is present in our body. So this blood, it carries the glucose to the blood, and it also carries the oxygen which is needed for the cells, because the cells also respire. Okay, I hope you all have remembered, I spoke about mitochondria in the previous lesson. Correct. So mitochondria is the region where the cellular respiration takes place. So all the cells need the food as well as oxygen. So as a result, they receive the food and oxygen, they produce some amount of energy, and that energy is being utilized by us. Clear? So here the blood and the muscles. See, the blood and the muscles. The blood and the muscles, they both are the examples for the tissues. So on the basis of the functions they perform, on the basis of the function, the blood and the muscle tissues they perform, the animal tissues are broadly classified into 4 types. Okay, the animal tissues are broadly classified into 4 types. So the four different types of animal tissues are the epithelial tissue, the connective tissue, the nervous tissue, and the muscular tissue. So these are the four tissues. These are the four animal tissues. Correct? The epithelial tissue, connective tissue, nervous tissue, and the muscular tissue. These are the four different animal tissue. So now let us understand the first type, that is the animal tissue. So in this session I will completely explain about the epithelial tissues and the types of epithelial tissue. Okay, so then what are epithelial tissue? Let us understand in detail. So then what are epithelial tissues? See, these are basically called as the protective tissues. They actually protect all the organs and external surfaces of the body. When I say external surfaces, it is skin. When I say organs, all the organs which are present inside our body. Okay, the epithelial tissue, they act as the protective tissues because it protects all the organs which are present in and out of the body. Clear? All the organs which are present in and out of the body are being protected by the epithelial tissues. So hence we consider it as a protective tissues. See, when I say protection, so our body needs some protection, right? So that protection will be given by the skin. Correct? So our body has many organs and these organs are totally, the entire organs are being covered by the skin. The external protection is called as skin. The skin is also a type of epithelium tissue. Are you getting my point? Skin is also a type of epithelium tissue because it is protecting all our organs from the external environment, from outside. From outside, it is protecting all our organs. Apart from this, there are also some other epithelial tissues which are present at the different parts of our body. They actually act as covering to keep the different body systems separate. See, when I say different body systems, you have the lungs, you have the intestine, you have the stomach, correct? You have the heart. So all these are the different organs. These organs are actually covered by the epithelium tissues. We will understand about these in detail as we go ahead. Clear? So they are the covering for the external surfaces, organs and the cavities in the body. You got this point, right? So next, epithelial cells are closely packed cells. Very important. See, next, the epithelium cells are closely packed cells. It forms a continuous sheath. That means there are no spaces or there is very less space between the epithelial tissues. That means the cells of the epithelial tissues, they do not have the intercellular space. See, when I say intercellular space, if these are the cells, okay, so these cells, they do not have the space between them. Hence, we can say it as no intercellular space. Epithelium cells, they are closely packed cells. They form the continuous sheath. They do not have space. There is very least space or no intercellular space between them. Okay, now what would have happened if they had the intercellular spaces between them? See, as I told that epithelium tissues, they do not have the intercellular space. There is no space between the cells. If there are spaces between the cells of the epithelium tissues, what would have happened? See, if they had the intercellular spaces, there is possibility of leaking. There is possibility of leaking. The substances would have been leaked from one boundary to another. That means, see, the boundary of the stomach would have leaked some of the materials to the boundary of the intestine, or the boundary of intestine would have leaked some of the materials to some other organ of the body. So there would have been leakage between one organ to another organ. So to avoid this leakage, there are no spaces between the cells of the epithelium tissues. Clear? So they act as a boundary. So they act as a boundary. As a result of this, there are no leaks between one organ to another organ. Clear? So next, there are no blood vessels within the epithelium tissues. See, why there are no blood vessels within the tissues? What would have happened if there are blood vessels within these tissues? Let's understand by taking one of the example. So let us consider this is your hand and this is your skin region. Okay, if your skin consisting of the epithelium tissues with the blood vessels, then what would have happened if your skin come in contact with the harder substance or somebody pushes you to the harder region? Then what would have happened? Your skin come in contact with that harder region. As a result of that, what happened? The blood vessels which were present in the epithelium tissues got ruptured and the blood would have reached out. Clear? So the blood start coming out. So that is the reason we do not have the blood vessels within the epithelium tissues. There are no blood vessels within the epithelium tissues. Clear? I hope you have understood these points. See, we have understood that epithelium tissues are called as the protective tissues and they are the covering of the external surfaces and some of the internal organs and the cavities in the body. Epithelium tissues, they have closely packed cells and there are no blood vessels within the epithelium tissues. Okay, now let us understand the structure of the epithelium tissue. So this is how the structure of the epithelium tissues looks like. So these tissues, they do not have the intercellular spaces. So you can observe the cells of the epithelium tissues. There is no space between the one cell and another cell. So there is no intercellular spaces between these cells. They act as the boundaries, correct? So you can observe here. And epithelium tissues, they have the two surface. You can observe here. There are two surface for the epithelium tissues. One surface is on the top and one is the below. Okay. So the upper surface is free. This is the free surface. You can see. So this is the upper surface. The upper surface is free. And here you can observe the down surface. It is called as the basal membrane or the basal surface because it is at the basement. As it is at the basement region, it is called as the basal surface or the basement membrane. Clear? And the basal surface is very fibrous because it separates the epithelium from the underlying tissue. You can observe here the basement surface. So this basement surface is fibrous because it separates the below epithelium tissues. Okay, so that is the reason it is fibrous in nature. Clear? So now let us understand where do these epithelium tissues are found in the human body. See, we can find the epithelium tissues at the many places. So for example, it is found in the lining of the mouth and then it is found in the skin. It is found in the lungs. So there are alveoli which is called as air sacs inside the lungs. So in those alveoli, these epithelium tissues are present. It is found in the lining of the blood. Okay. And it is found in the kidney tubules. It is found in the kidney tubules. So these are some of the areas where we can find the epithelium tissues. Okay. So these are different regions. So now let us move ahead to understand the functions of the epithelium tissues. Okay. So this epithelium tissues, it protects the underlying tissues. That means it protects all the organs which are present in our body. And the next point, it regulates the exchange of different materials between the body and the external environment and also between the different parts of the body. So what do you mean by that? It means that it protects the flow of materials through the boundary of different organs. As I told you, so there are some materials in the stomach, there are some materials in the lungs, there are some materials in the intestine. So those materials will be not leaked out of that particular region. So moving to the next point, it absorbs the food and nutrients and then it secretes the chemicals like hormones and enzymes. So we will understand this under the types of epithelium tissues. Okay. So next let us understand the different types of epithelium tissues. So when I start talking about the different types of epithelium tissues, the epithelium tissues are classified again into the squamous epithelium, columnar epithelium and then cuboidal epithelium. So these are the three different types of epithelium tissues. We will understand this one by one in detail. Okay. So now first let us understand about the squamous epithelium, which is the first type of epithelium tissue. Don't confuse, epithelium tissues are classified into three types: squamous epithelium, columnar epithelium and cuboidal epithelium. Amongst this, first we are talking about the squamous epithelium. Okay, so this squamous epithelium, it is further classified into two types. The first one is the simple squamous and second one is the stratified squamous. I repeat it again. Squamous epithelium is classified into simple squamous epithelium and the stratified squamous epithelium. Let's understand this now. So what is meant by simple squamous? When I say simple squamous epithelium, it is having the single layered surface. You can observe here, this is the simple squamous epithelium. It is the epithelium tissue which is the single layered tissue, which is having the single layered surface. So then where do this simple squamous epithelium tissue present? See, it is present in the blood vessels and alveoli of the lungs. Okay, simple squamous epithelium tissue, it is a single layer tissue. Where does it present? It is present in the blood vessels and it is also present in the alveoli of the lungs. I hope you all know how roughly the lungs looks like, right? It looks something like this. So these lungs, they have a small air sacs inside it. So these air sacs, we call it as alveoli. So inside the alveoli, there is presence of the simple squamous epithelium tissues. Clear? So next, let us understand the stratified squamous epithelium. See, when I say stratified squamous epithelium, it is the multi-layered tissue. You can observe here. See, when I say simple, it is having only one layer, single layer. When I say stratified, you can observe there are many layers. So it is multi-layered tissue, you can observe here. So you can observe 1, 2, 3, 4. There are so many layers. So it is present in the skin. It is present in the lining of the mouth, that is the esophagus. When I say esophagus, it is the lining of the food pipe. Okay, so inside your food pipe, it is present. Clear? So the two types of epithelium tissues are simple squamous epithelium and stratified squamous epithelium. Simple squamous epithelium is single layered. Stratified squamous epithelium is having multi layers. Correct? Where do these simple squamous epithelium tissues present? They are present in the blood vessels and alveoli of the lungs. So where do the stratified squamous epithelium present? It is present in the skin and the lining of the mouth, that is the esophagus. When I say esophagus, it is the food pipe. Clear? So moving to the next type of the epithelium tissue, that is the columnar epithelium tissue. See, if you look at the columnar epithelium tissue, so this is how the columnar epithelium tissues looks like. You can observe they are having the pillar-like structures. Yes, and they also have the small villi on top of it. Columnar epithelium tissues, they have the small villi on the top of the epithelium tissues. So these villi which are present on the top of the columnar epithelium tissue, they help in the absorption of the food. So the small intestine of your body has the small villi, and these small villi, they help in the absorption of the food. Clear? So what is columnar epithelium tissues? The columnar epithelium tissues are looking like tall pillar-like structures. So they have the small villi on top of it, and these villi, they help in the absorption of the food. Location is very important. Usually in the examination, they ask the location of the different epithelium tissues. Okay, the columnar epithelium tissues are present in the inner lining of the stomach as well as in the intestine. Clear? And it is also called as the ciliated epithelium tissue. Columnar epithelium tissues is also called as ciliated epithelium tissue because there is presence of cilia on the surface of it. Okay, what is cilia? It is a small finger-like projections. Cilia are the small finger-like projections. They are rich in the blood vessels. Cilia are rich in the blood vessels. Clear? The next type of epithelium tissue is the cuboidal epithelium tissue. You can observe this is how the cuboidal epithelium tissue looks like. So the name cuboidal epithelium, it is because the cells which are present in the cuboidal epithelium are cube in shape. The cells are cube in shape, hence it got the name cuboidal epithelium. And the nucleus is present very close to the cell. So what is the function of it? The cuboidal epithelium, it helps in the secretion of the oil glands, sweat glands, as well as the salivary glands and some other glands which are present in our body. See, when I say glands, you have to understand about endocrine system. Okay, so you will understand endocrine system in detail in your class 10. If you want, I will put the link in the description box below. You can open that link and you can understand about the endocrine system. So these glands, they release the hormones. Then what are hormones? Hormones are called as the chemical messengers. They transfer the chemicals from one part of the body to another. That means to the specific target organ. Okay, you will understand detailedly in your class 10. As I said, if you want, I'll put the link in the description box below. You can watch. So, cuboidal epithelium, it helps in the secretion of the oil glands, sweat glands, salivary glands, and there are some other glands which are present in the body. Okay, and let us now understand where exactly these cuboidal epithelium present. See, this cuboidal epithelium tissues, they are present in the lining of the kidney tubules, ducts of salivary glands and sweat glands, and as I told you, there are so many other glands which are present in the body. In those regions also, the cuboidal epithelium tissue are present. Clear? So this is all about the types of epithelium tissue. Till now you have understood about the 3 different types of epithelium tissue. The first one is the squamous epithelium tissue. The first one you have understood was the squamous epithelium tissue. And the second one is the columnar epithelium tissue. It is the columnar epithelium tissue. And the third one which you have understood here is the cuboidal epithelium tissue. Correct. Squamous epithelium tissue, when I talk about squamous, the squamous epithelium tissue is further classified into simple squamous and stratified squamous. Correct. So simple squamous is the single layered and the stratified squamous is multi-layered. Correct. If you want, once again watch the video and understand the concept clearly. Okay. So in the next session, we'll understand about the connective tissue, nervous tissue, as well as the muscular tissue. So in this session, I hope you all have clearly understood about the epithelial tissues. That's all for this session. I'm signing off. Thank you.